Start your day like a plumbing business CEO.
And you are a plumbing business CEO.
Yes, that's the difference, okay? And these are simple things to do, very simple things to do, not necessarily easy, very simple. Hey, plumbing pros, welcome to the 457th episode of Potty Talk. I'm your host, Richard Bainey, the $1 Million Plumber, along with my co-host, the lovely Laura. Mm-hmm. Hey, and sweetheart, we got our episode title here today is Start Your Day Like a Plumbing Business CEO.
Ooh,
what does that mean?
I don't know, but that's good.
Well, we're going to find out.
Okay,
we're going to find out. There's, what's the secret, behind, or the difference between, like a 7-figure plumbers and those who aren't? Mm-hmm. Okay, well, it's not your skills, it's not your plumbing skills.
Your plumbing skills for sure.
But this is certainly one of the things here. Okay, so we're going to cover that here in a moment.
Okay.
But before we do, all right, hey, I want to thank our sponsors, supplyhouse.com. Check this out. Looking for a reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, electrical products, and more online? Look no further than supplyhouse.com. Supplyhouse.com is your go-to site for all your supply needs. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands. Plus, with fast shipping from coast to coast, your order will be delivered right to your door. Need help with an order? No problem. Get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business. Talk to a real person every time. Pros in the skilled trades can get a competitive edge by joining SupplyHouse.com's free Trade Master program. As a Trade Master, you get access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at SupplyHouse.com/TM. So, what are you waiting for? Order plumbing, HVAC, electrical supplies, and more from anywhere with just a few clicks at SupplyHouse.com. Real people, real service. That's supplyhouse.com. All right, there we go, supplyhouse.com. Okay, check them out. Okay, good people. All right, good supplies. Get it fast, quick. All right.
All the things, supplyhouse.com.
Okay,
yes.
We want to make life easy.
They want to make life easy on you. You got enough on your plate as a plumbing business owner. Do something that makes it easy.
Another thing I like is they like small business owners too.
Yes.
I mean, that's an important part of the vendors that we like to recommend. Okay, so they like us little guys.
Right.
Okay. All right. So there we go.
All
right. So we're talking about how to start your day like a plumbing business CEO, and there's the key part there. Start your day. Okay. Starting your day is so important to your success.
Well, I think so. Can't wait to hear what you say. But starting my day is I'm going to sleep until the last possible minute. Because I'm tired, because I stayed up the night before.
The kids are sick.
And we're sick, or a scroll hold,
right.
All of a sudden, I'm just going to check my phone for a second, and an hour later, it's midnight, and blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to sleep until the last possible minute, because I need my sleep. I got to get my sleep. So, and then the alarm's going to go off, and I'm going to roll out of bed, maybe get a shower, maybe not. Get the kids somewhat out, whatever, kiss the wife goodbye, maybe, if you're lucky. And then, I don't know, get to the office.
With
and
everything hitting the fan, we found out this job went bad, now
and then
customers
you don't have
mad.
to wait till after you get to the office. You're driving your truck into the shop, and your phone is bing, 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 going off. I think that's the best way to start your day as a plumbing CEO.
Yeah, there we go. That's a secret, and you'll be successful. Not. Okay. All right. You hit on it. Our first point here. Okay. And our first point is this. All right. Number one, begin the night before.
Yes.
We talked about staying up late, scroll holing, that kind of stuff. Occasionally when the kids are sick and you're up at night, that's tough.
Right.
Okay. And you got to be disciplined. It's just, that's life and how it can be. Okay. But just staying up late,
watching ESPN Sports Center.
Right. Watching whatever junk. Okay, and that's what it is.
Yes.
Okay, nothing wrong with junk. I mean, there's time
that we need to veg out,
to watch junk and eat junk and do junk or whatever. Okay, there are the times, but not every evening.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. So it's begin the night before.
Yes.
So what does that look like? First of all, go to bed early.
Yes.
Okay, go to bed early.
Having a discipline of going to bed early.
And if I go into bed, it could be, when I'm saying going to bed, it's like I'm prepping in, I'm doing my nightly routine. Okay, I'm going to bed. And by early, seriously, means something like 9:30. Okay.
10 o'clock.
10
really,
o'clock,
really no later than 10 o'clock.
Okay.
And for the reason that I'm sure we're going to talk about here in a little bit. But because really think about, your last few days, if it's been, through the week, what did you do each night that added in your nightly routine that added value to your life? Right. The scroll holing, the Netflix binging, whatever it was. Now, again, we want to say there are times where, man, I just need to veg out and do nothing because it's been a heck of a day. We get it. But for the most part, routine means routine, where you typically do it constantly. What are some of the things you've done over the last 4 or 5 days at night that has added value to your life? I would venture to say there probably isn't much. Right? It's probably not much, because we typically will default to the least common denominator, the least or the most easy thing.
Right.
That's our human nature. Right. To default to that. And so going to bed on time, that's a discipline. It is a discipline.
Well, that's what we're leaning towards here. We're talking about, the things that, the difference between being, a broke plumber or just getting by plumber versus being a seven-figure plumber. Okay. And it has to do with these things that are simple. These are simple things to do, but not necessarily easy, because it takes discipline. Okay. Yes. Because it is the habit to stay up, late, 10, 11.
Kids are in bed and things are quiet. My phone's not going off.
I can watch what I want to watch, and it just veg out, and I'm scrolling. It's just like, okay, that's, in a way, it's even kind of comforting, right? But it's not very disciplined.
It's not very disciplined.
Okay. All right, because we want to get to bed at a good time, and we'll get to that early hour.
Yes.
Also, we want to go to bed together. I'm not saying you and me, man. Okay, I say you're married with your wife. Okay, if you're married, go to bed with your wife. Okay, I'm going to say it again. Go to bed with your wife. All right, you both decide. Okay, you're going to go to bed together at the same time together. Not you stay up and scroll holing or online. Okay. Yes. And doing other things.
And it's something you guys talk about together. Right. Let's especially if you've got kids, right? You need a nightly routine. If you don't have a nightly routine with the kids, it's chaos, and that's not great for the kids. It's not great for you guys. So get into a nightly routine. The kids are going to be in bed by fill in the blank. Typically, no later than 8 o'clock. Of course, once they get into teenage and all the things, then they can go to bed on their own. But no later than 8 o'clock, and that's the routine. And if they want to, if they're 7, 8, 9, whatever, they want to lay in their book or in their bed and read a book or something because they're not tired yet, that's fine. But you're staying in bed. You're going in their own bed. Ladies, stop letting the kids sleep with you. Stop. It's your bed. It's yours and your husband's bed. It is not security for your kids to be sleeping with you. That's a bonus. If you want to know more about that, I hold a class in the Success Academy on the first Thursday of every month. Right. Stop letting the kids sleep with you. Nobody gets good sleep. Nobody gets good sleep when you've got some community bed. It just doesn't happen. I don't care what you say.
Well, I'm being loving parents.
No, you're not. You're being horrible parents. You're absolutely being horrible parents by allowing your kids to sleep with you. You're being horrible parents. They need their own space. They need to be able to comfort themselves. They need to be independent. If not, you're creating these dependent creatures who are dependent on you forever. And maybe that's why you're doing it. That's a whole other thing. That's possible. You and your husband need your own, husband and wife, you guys need your own bed, your own space. Now kids get up in the middle of the night and have a nightmare or whatever. Comfort them, take them back to their bed.
10 minutes.
Take them back to their bed. Right. So going to bed at the same time. So have a conversation. What time do we want the kids to be in bed by? And then what's the nightly routine look like? Come up with a routine, whatever it is. Doesn't matter. It's up to you guys. Then decide what time are we typically going to go to bed. We're going to discipline ourselves. And if you do that, and you decide, okay, this is what we're going to do, you're making a promise to yourself. Keep the promise to yourself, because it's easy to not. Stand up, letting the kids run wild until 8 o'clock at night and then pass out in bed with you, or you guys stand up late and binging and scroll holing. That is the easiest thing to do.
And everybody's doing it.
That's so simple.
Everybody's doing that.
Yes.
Now we're talking, what's the difference between, just getting by in life and then having the life that you never dreamed of.
Right.
It's this kind of discipline.
These disciplines, yes. So again, that's easy to do. What's hard is creating the disciplines and then sticking with it and keeping the promise to yourself. But that is the difference between winners and losers. Yes. Plain and simple.
Plain and simple. And then when you do go to bed, and you go to bed together, okay, and you're spending some time, all right, spend that time to to watch or read or listen to something positive.
Correct.
Or something that's uplifting, okay, that you're learning from, okay? Not
Potty Talks are great.
What?
Potty Talks are great.
Right,
We got
yes.
400 and how many? 57 episodes you could go back and binge. Just saying.
We have clients who tell us, you know, and I get a kick out of this. The wives will say, well, you know, my guy has a
man crush
on you because he's watching bed. That's what he watches. He's watching
Potty Talk in bed.
Potty Talk and also the Success Academy, the classes and all that kind of stuff.
If you're watching Potty Talk in bed, let us know. We want to know. I'm currently, my wife is snoring right next to me.
And if you are, you're going to be successful. Not just because you're watching Potty Talk, but because you're focused on your business. You're watching something positive that's going to elevate you.
Yes.
That's the whole point.
Yes.
Okay. And that's what successful people do. So when you are there, that is time. Put away the news. I get it. Especially now how things are going, you know, in our society, things are making a big turn, and there's so much stuff going on, and I'm still, I mean, I could be there, you know.
Watch all the updates.
Right. You know, and I get it. So we get it. We get it. But you want it as best as possible, as most times as possible. You want to be ending your day by reading, listening to, or watching something that is positive and uplifting.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So that's beginning the night before.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Number 2. All right. Which led to this. All right. Reason for the night before. Okay. Be an early bird.
Early bird gets the worm.
There's a reason why that's that saying.
Wait, early bird gets the worm. I mean, really think about what early bird gets the worm, because the worms are typically only coming out right in the morning when the before the sun's too hot and all the things, right?
The other lazy birds are hanging out in the nest because they've been up all night tweeting, doing whatever.
Tweeting. Good one. That was a good one. Yeah. So I mean, when there's sayings that we've heard so many times, it's like you just kind of pass over them. What does it mean the early bird gets the worm? It's the bird that's getting up early. He's the one that's going to be able to feed himself. He's the one that's going to get the nice, plump, fat, juicy, you know, worms that aren't all decrepit and dried up from the sun. The early bird gets the worm, and you need to be an early bird. Early in that, and I don't know if you're getting ready to talk about that. Yeah, like 5 in the morning.
Yes.
5 in the morning.
Five. Right. At least 5. Okay.
Because what you don't want to have happen, sorry, I'm taking over. What you don't want to have happen is, again, you're allowing the kids to wake you up or something, because then that just starts the day off on a horrible foot. That's the time where you get up before anybody else in that house is up. You know, maybe you and your wife both get up. We get up together. Get up and you start your day. You start your day planned. You start your day with purpose, with intentionality. When you set an alarm for an early time, you are telling yourself, I'm valuable, I'm worth being disciplined, I'm worth learning these new skills so that I can make life better for me, my wife, and my kids.
Right on. You know, the whole point of this is wanting to take control. It's control of your day.
Right. That's exactly
the bottom line is, the first thing in the morning is the only time you actually have control of your day. So we're trying to take advantage of that time. Okay, so we want to be up early at 5.
Yes.
And also, I'm glad that you mentioned too, up together at the same time. Okay, you should, on the whole, you just, as a husband and wife, not only is this good for business, being disciplined, but it's also good for the relationship, because you're living your days together.
Right.
We're going to bed at the same time. We're getting up, we're starting our day at the same time.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, I always have to give a caveat. Yes, moms, if you've got brand new little babies and all that, right,
Definitely.
of course, then,
Yes,
and
yes.
you've been, woke up however many times because you have to feed the baby, of course. That's a different life stage.
If you're in that season,
Yeah.
or we've had, the kids were up, the kids are
Throwing
sick,
up.
and one of you, who of you is switching off. These things are going to change, right?
Correct.
There is a reality to life. Okay, we're talking about an overall discipline.
Yes.
An overall lifestyle.
Yes.
Overall worldview. Okay, kind of a thing. All right.
Right. So again, I want to give that caveat because, again, brand new babies, young toddlers that are up through the night, that's a little bit different. Now, past the age of 2, it shouldn't be necessarily happening. But so give yourself some grace on that. But if you've got kids that are a little bit older, that aren't getting up, and you guys have gone to bed at a decent time, man, get up early in the morning. Moms, especially for you guys, for you at this point, because your kids are going to be up probably fairly early, like most kids are. Why can't they sleep until 9, 10 o'clock? I don't even know the answer to that. But they're going to be up. And you know what happens when, as soon as they get up, who do they call for? Mommy, right? They don't necessarily call for daddy. They're calling for mommy. So your day's hitting like that. So like you said, babe, controlling your day. This is the only time, moms, where you've got any control of your day. Your kids are still sleeping. Get up and spend a little bit of time. For us as Christians, spend a little bit of time in the Word, just to get fed. Listen to a podcast that's edifying. Some a Bible study or whatever it might be that's going to be edifying for you, so that you can have a few minutes of peace in the morning. Cup of coffee, of course, got to have your coffee, and then something to listen to or something to read that sets the tone for your day. Before the kids get up.
And if that means that you got to get up at 4:30, you get up at 4:30.
And that's what happened when we had little kids and we had the business. I was up at 4:30 because I wanted to work out. I also believe in working out. We believe in working out in the morning. So it was really hard to work out in the morning when the kids, when we had the kids. And when they were little, you would go into the gym, but I would work out at home. I'd work out. And even before we had a basement or anything, I made a way. I made a way because I knew I wanted to work out. I was going to keep that promise to myself. I've got a history of largeness in my family. And I knew I didn't want that for me. I didn't want those health issues. I didn't want all of that. So I made a plan. And so it was 4:30 that I was getting up in the morning, and it was hard. It was hard
to keep that discipline up.
But now we still get up early, and we typically work out almost every day. Well, 4 to 6 times a week, because I created that discipline, 30 some years ago, right? More than, golly,
right.
It's been a long time.
So now it's just part of the lifestyle.
It's just a part of life. It's breathing in and out. So moms, I really encourage you to figure out a way. You get into bed early the night before, and at least getting 30 minutes in before the kids start the day for you.
Right.
You start the day for yourself.
Because that's why we're getting up early, so you can spend time with yourself, doing things like, for us, it was important to spend some time in the Word, develop our faith. Okay, a great way to start the day off right there. All right, and then you mentioned working out. We get to work out, but a very, very important part of our day, it's been for years, is what I call your daily GPS. Okay, and it's one thing that we really teach. And it's
is that point number 3?
And that's point number 3.
Okay.
Point number 3 is your daily GPS. All right, where you're actually writing down 5 to 7 affirmative statements, okay, about yourself or about where you're headed. Okay, so it's like, I am.
It's future casting.
It's future casting. So for, years, I've, on a personal thing, I am 200 pounds, and classic body built, and, 6-pack abs. Well, it wasn't the case always. Okay, we're getting closer, and it's not all definitely the case there yet. But it's what I am. But notice I've had I am, and I'm writing it down. Okay, I am, and then you speak it out. Okay, for years we wrote, I have a fine home in Florida. Okay, for years when we were at the plumbing business up in Indiana, I have a fine home in Florida. Well, here we are.
Which seemed impossible. Impossible.
Right, what we wanted.
At the beginning years of our plumbing business. That just seemed impossible. Just because, again, young kids, all the struggles, the money, chasing money, not knowing what we're doing, all of that.
In our family, I had nothing like our families. That's not where we come from.
No, not at all. Yeah. So having something like that. So even, take the blinders off. What is it that you want? Do you want a nice home in Florida? Do you want a nice home in Montana, big sky and land or what? It doesn't matter. Do you want to be able to send your kids to a certain private school? Whatever it is. So if that's the case, you're like, man, before my kids start, I really want to be able to homeschool or send them to a nice private school. So you're writing down, my kids go to such and such academy, whatever the school is. Now, your kids may be in a crib right now, right? But you're writing these things down. These are affirming statements because when you say GPS, what is a GPS? GPS is guiding and directing where you're going.
Where your life is going.
Right.
Okay, that's key right there, where your life is going. That's a difference between those that plumbing businesses that aren't successful. Okay, I hate if you're working, you're successful. I want you as a guy, man, feeling successful, being out there getting it done. But we're talking about creating wealth. Okay, wealth and security and freedom, right? Okay, we're talking the difference between those that have those things and don't. Okay, are doing these kinds of things of pointing towards, of visualizing, this is where I'm headed.
Right.
Because once you get to the shop, that's everything's going to hit the fan. Okay, customer problems, employee problems. This guy's sick. This guy you're supposed to have an interview with, he didn't show up to his interview.
Somebody
you
quit.
got your marketing company you thought we were on, and it was a good last month. Now the phone ain't ringing at all. What the heck is going on here? All that stuff's going to happen. Okay. time and time again. So you got to remind yourself, start your day off where I'm headed.
Right.
I'm doing this because I want to send my kids to this college. Okay, I'm doing this
because we want to get an RV.
I want to get right
and travel through the whole summer with the kids and explore the United States.
Right.
Again, guys, think about it. Really dream and step outside the box. But your daily GPS, writing down, is you telling yourself where you're headed. And it just can be a simple journal. It doesn't have to be something fancy that you get. Just go get a pad of paper and whatever. And you're writing it down every single day. And then you said it too. Then you're speaking it out loud. So you've got your 5-7 things written out, and you're speaking them out loud.
Right.
You're saying it out loud. So it's affirming statements to yourself.
There is something powerful about speaking it. And for those that are believers, God spoke the universe into creation, spoke it. Even Christ spoke the miracles, spoke them into place. So and was told to speak. So it's something
say
powerful.
To this mountain,
must be right.
Say to this
you
mountain,
say to the mountain, move. You don't think about. Of course, you think about it, right? But you don't think to right. You say to the mountain,
move.
All right. So there's power in speaking out. So deciding, what I am this, I have this. For whatever that is, okay? And keep it 5 to 7. You get too many, it just gets out there,
right.
Okay? These are kind of, these are main directions, main streets.
My wife and I take a vacation together twice a year.
Yep.
Take a vacation twice a year. We take the kids on vacation. We go to Disney, whatever it is. We have taken the kids to Disney every year, whatever, it doesn't matter. But those are the things, even when it seems impossible right now, even when it seems there's no possible way, then you start writing these things down and you get these disciplines. Guys, we're living proof of it. And we're nobodies. We literally are nobodies. Parents were factory workers, and we grew up. We were blessed. We had a home. My parents were married. All the things. But yeah, factory workers. And you come from broken home, and your dad was a car mechanic and all things. So these things were new to us. But now we're living proof. We're living. We do now. Are so blessed to be able to live in Florida. We don't have to deal with Indiana winters anymore. We did get to move to Florida.
It was in my daily GPS. For some years. Okay, and it happens. Everything I've written down has come to pass. Everything. In fact, I've lowered things. I've lowered my weight. I am. And I kind of,
and lowered it to a 4-pack ab?
Yeah. Well, you got to be realistic, too. So I had in there, one point, I competed in them. I ain't going to compete in them. Ain't that, So, but it works, okay? And that is the difference. And these are simple things to do. And that's what we're about here. These are simple things, simple things that you can do to literally, and it's the difference between, again, just getting by and having a 7-figure plumbing business, okay? And the simple things like, starting the night before by getting to bed early, okay? Reading, looking at positive things, going to bed with your wife, then getting up early the next morning, at least 5, okay? Focused on you, get up, the discipline of getting up. No one wants to get up, okay?
No one, we never want to get up. We've gotten up early forever.
Ever.
Every morning I don't want to get up. I do not want to get out of bed.
For our whole marriage, we've been married over 31 years. We've gotten up early, at least, a rare time if we sleep in. And sleeping in was like, if we slept into 7.
Oh, heaven.
But successful people, there is a mode of being, okay? Successful people are up early. Early bird gets the worm.
It's a rhythm.
Right, okay? Rhythm. And it's a focus, okay? And so you get up early, and then you spend some time in the Word, okay? At a minimum, read something positive. Listen to a positive podcast, okay? All right? And then do your daily GPS.
It's all about having an intentionality to life.
Right.
Having an intentionality to life. It's your life.
You don't have to be the victim.
Right.
We're seeing that played out in society right now, even worldwide, this idea of, am I in control of my life, okay, or am I a victim? Everybody's out to get me. My whole reason for not achieving what I want to do or whatever is because it's them and that and this and that, and everything's out to get me. Or am I going to control my life the best I can? There is reality to life, right? Sure. Things happen, all right? There's bad people get sick, there's stuff,
Bad weather, bad
right, okay?
Whatever.
We're a broken world, all right, because of sin. We know that. all right? But you can control your life, which, so you're up early, you do your daily GPS, and then work out in the morning. You're not going to work out in the evening. You got the kids, you're tired, mentally not there. Work out. You'll be glad you did, okay? Work out. You have a duty to be physically fit for your wife and for your children, okay? And it's just going to be, it also will help. It's good for business. It just gives you the energy.
It just makes you feel better.
Right, okay.
And that is a discipline. You're right. It's a discipline, and that's the intentionality life. Everybody knows that you should work out. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. But so few people do it because it's such a discipline. It's so much easier to sleep in longer than to get up and put those running shoes on. That's so much easier. Oh, the bed is so nice and comfy, cozy, and it's weight, cold out or whatever. It's so much easier to do that. And that's why you see the vast majority of people overweight. And let's just take a look around, because that's easy. Guys, that's easy. You've picked something that's hard to have your own business and your own plumbing business. You've chosen something that's difficult to do, that most people won't do. And so you've got to discipline with that. Put these other disciplines in place. It's going to make your life even better. And you don't have to be some big bodybuilder where you're working out 2 hours every single day. Now you get to a point where the business is running itself, then maybe you can. But for 30 minutes, move some weights, do something that makes you feel better. So we want to encourage you to do that. We did not do that in the beginning of our marriage. That did become a practice, and now we still do it at the ripe old ages of 62 and 61. Yep. And it doesn't get any easier.
No, it don't. All right, but you got to keep moving. You got to keep moving.
Movement is life.
Yep, yes it is. Well, these are the things to do, okay, to start your day like a plumbing business CEO.
And you are a plumbing business CEO.
Yes, that's the difference, okay? And these are simple things to do. Very simple things to do, not necessarily easy, but very simple.
Correct.
So there you go. And if you want to learn some other simple things to do.
Good one, really good one.
All right. Okay, let's have a conversation. All right. Simple things to do to make you successful. Not necessarily easy, again. Okay, it's a different way of thinking, and even some disciplines you have to put in place. All right. But let's have a conversation. All right. We'll talk about where your plumbing business is at, and what's standing in your way. Okay, we'll be very honest, and give you a roadmap. All right, and you can go from there. Yep. Let's have a conversation. Go to milliondollarplumber.com/call. Okay, CALL.
CALL.
All right, and we'll have a conversation. So there we go.
Okay.
All right. Hey, good having you here again. Yeah. All right, love spending time with you. Before I let you go, as always, I want to remind you again that you were purposefully and wonderfully created, and you were created to do great things. So plumb like a champion.